Douglas the Space Boy. Douglas, this story is for you. The adventure starts in Florida, in the town of Clearwater, in a house on Nursery Road. We find ourselves in Douglas's bedroom, where Douglas is waiting for his dad to get home after work. His dad walks in and says, "I'm home." Douglas says, "Come here, read me a story, Dad." So his dad grabs a book and says, "This is your favorite one, son, The Three Little Pigs." Douglas looks at him and says, "That's not the one." So his dad grabs another book and says, "I know, The Three Bears. This one's too hot. This is too cold." "No, Dad, not that one either." And then his dad says, "Well, it's now time for me to read you the special book." And this book is titled, Douglas the Space Boy. Are you ready, Douglas? Pay attention and watch the hands fly. The book turns into a launch pad as everyone prepares for the takeoff. Everyone at NASA is getting ready, and the media is there recording this historical event, and they see Douglas the Space Boy and his dad, too, as they prepare to enter the rocket. Douglas waves to the crowd, and his proud daddy is right behind him. They get to the base of the rocket, right up on the elevator, and enter the capsule. The rocket engines start to smoke. Douglas pushes all the buttons in preparation, and then he tells his dad to close his window, and his dad follows the Space Boy's orders. And then they prepare, and the countdown begins. Everyone on the ground is getting excited. 5, 4, are you ready? I'm ready. 3, 2, 1, blast off! Everyone watches the rocket fly into space. Douglas looks over and sees his dad making a vanilla milkshake. And finally, they enter space, and they head towards the first destination, the sun. They pull over for a bit to suntan, and they know they can't fly through the sun. They have to go around. The space boy Douglas is a smart boy, and he avoids a disaster, and they head off to the first planet in the solar system, Mercury. Mercury is a very small planet, and it's the fastest rotating planet in the solar system. It orbits around the sun in 88 days. The days are very hot and the nights are very cold. They take some pictures and then head off to the next planet. And they arrive to the planet Venus. Hey, sexy mama. Nope, wrong Venus. The planet Venus, which is a beautiful planet and the brightest one in the solar system. Douglas, put on your sunglasses. Don't worry, Dad, I got a visor. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. There is no water. They leave Venus and head towards the familiar planet where we all live, Earth, our home. As Douglas does a flyby, he assures his beautiful mom that he'll be back home And even bring Dad back too. They are surrounded by stars, and up in the distance, the next planet is getting closer and closer. What color is it? Yellow? Is it green? Purple? No, it's red. It is the red planet Mars. And on this planet is the tallest mountain in the solar system, bigger than Jupiter's. And Douglas has to fly the ship over the mountain. And right before they leave, they see the explorer traveling around, collecting data, water samples, soil samples. Is there life? The United States Explorer will find it. And the trip is starting to get a little long. And Douglas's dad says, "I'm hungry." And he takes out a sandwich and it starts to float away. And he says, "What's going on?" And Douglas says, "Dad, there's no gravity. Look what happens when you try to jump." And then they both started to jump. And his dad did some somersaults and cartwheels and flips. And his dad tried to take a drink and it floated away. Then they started to throw popcorn and potato chips at each other. It was a great father and son moment. But then all of a sudden the alarms went off. And up ahead, there was an asteroid belt. Douglas's dad started to get scared and covered his eyes. And Douglas said, "Don't worry, Dad. Watch me drive. This way, that way, right, left, up, down." His dad was scared, but Douglas, the space boy, drove through it fine. And then he said, "Dad, you can uncover your eyes now." And his dad was so excited, he gave him a driver's license on the spot and said he was proud of him. And then, up ahead, was the biggest planet in the solar system. Jupiter. It had more than 63 moons. 63 moons orbiting around Jupiter. And Douglas knew he had to fly the ship around the huge planet. It was bigger than Texas. Did you know if you opened up Jupiter, you could fit all the other planets inside? Amazing. And when they finally got around the huge planet, they realized they ran out of gas. But his dad knew what to do. He got on his spacesuit and jumped outside, looking for the nearest gas station, and he used a natural resource for gas, the sun. As he filled up the tank, he saw the numbers going up and up and up quickly. The gas was expensive. It cost him $30 million to fill up the rocket. Hopefully his credit card would cover it. They got back in the rocket and took off and almost ran into the next planet. The planet Saturn. With beautiful rings surrounding the planet. Here's a fact for you. Did you know that Saturn could float in water? Douglas, you take a bath every night, right? With your rubber duckies? Well, if you took Saturn and put it in your bathtub, it would not sink to the bottom, but float to the top of the bath water. You would need a big bathtub to see this happen. But it'd be such fun. After their bath, they took off and headed to the next planet. And as they looked back, the sun got smaller and smaller. Until finally, they saw Uranus, which also had rings. But this planet spun like no other. It rotated on its side. It was a strange planet. And also very cold. And your mom wouldn't like this planet because it was colder than New York. Yeah, Dad, I remember I was born there, but it was too cold, so we moved to Florida. Right, son. Are there any more planets, Douglas? They said, let's search up ahead. And then they saw Neptune. It was the farthest planet made of ice. And then Douglas's dad said, look, I see another planet, Pluto. And Douglas said, no, Dad, in 2006 we voted it's not a planet anymore. And his dad said, but when I went to school it was. Oh, well, you go to Blossom Montessori School for the Deaf, so you know what you're talking about, Douglas. And then his dad saw the Milky Way. And he said, hold on, Douglas, let me get you a treat. And he grabbed a glass and took a big scoop and filled it up with delicious Milky Way. And said, this is for Marisol. She loves her milk. Let's go home for some cookies. And they turned around and helped me count, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Go. Hold on a second. Give it a little push. Stay. And finally, they came back to the planet Earth and landed safely. Well, son, Dad, that was a great story. Thank you, son. And now, it's time for you to go to sleep. Okay, Dad, I'll go to bed. Good night. I love you.